Look. This was one that you put on here as well. Convince me. Why is Utah one of the easiest schedules in the Big 12 and therefore in college football?
Well, I part of it is a little bit relative, right? So there's a little bit of bias because there is so much parity in the Big 12, which we've talked about, which we love. The power grab is there, but there are a couple teams and programs that you feel pretty good about, coaching staffs, et cetera, et cetera. Utah is one of them, right? What they have done in the Pac-12, sustained success, not only from the Mountain West, back with Urban Meyer, but also through and through here with Kyle Whittingham. And you look at their schedule, by the way, you're seeing that week 2, right? Week 2, Baylor is an out-of-conference game, right? That was a home and home schedule before all the chaos that is college football realignment. So Utah, Baylor in week 2 is an out of conference game. Do not be confused with the Baylor that's also in the Big 12 because it is the same team. Regardless, though, you're looking at our conference and Southern Utah, Utah State, which you don't have to leave your state to go to Utah State. It gets an away game, but I mean, we'll see, right? I feel pretty good about that. Obviously, Spencer Petras might be the quarterback there, so Utah's defense should be all right. Baylor, obviously, they're kind of still figuring it out. Dave Aranda, obviously, is a couple years removed from that Sugar Bowl team, and we'll see what happens, right? DeQuan Finn in town could be some fun things, but I still think like that's a winnable game for Utah.
Jake
Absolutely
Spavital, new
at
offensive
home.
coordinator.
Yeah, yeah. Who knows? Who knows? But to me, you look at September 21st and September 28th are probably your toughest games, right? And you have at Oklahoma State on the road, which is not going to be easy. Ask anybody, anybody trying to go to Bedlam and get a victory there. It's going to be tough. That team brings back a ton of talent. I get that, right? And then Arizona, right? New coach, but it's still going to be tough, but you get them at home. The thing is, after that, though, it really opens up as much as it can in the Big 12 relatively, right? Relatively. Arizona State on the road, that's probably one of the teams where it's like, and with all due respect to Kenny Dillingham and Arizona State, like they're getting there. I like where they're going, right? But in this year, like if you're Utah and you have to have X amount of home games, I'm sorry, X amount of home games and X amount of road games, you're going to want them in conference against Arizona State, Houston with a new coach, Colorado, right? Like these are games, and that might come back to bite me. But the reality is, you have to have some road games in the Big 12. Those are some of the teams that you kind of want to be playing on the road. So you can get your tougher games at home, like Arizona, like Iowa State, right? And TCU, right? Who I think is going to be a little bit improved this year from a year ago. So I think it opens up pretty. You're gonna know pretty soon, right? By October, if Utah's for real and if they're vying for that playoff spot, right? That the conference championship game, in the Big 12, and they're went total like you said 9.5, right? Pretty darn high and pretty friendly. I think to the schedule, I think it's pretty fair. And they're the odd, not the odds on favorite. They're the first best odds in the Big 12 to win the conference at plus 290, right? So obviously that says something about what Vegas thinks about their schedule and compared to the rest of the Big 12 as well.
Yeah, things that stand out to me, like things last year, like when I was looking at easy schedules in the Big 12, I was like, all right, who's going to draw all four? Who's going to be the one? It was Oklahoma State last year. It was Oklahoma State.
Yeah.
Look where they ended up. And it's not that they draw all of those four. They
And
don't
when
draw
you say all four,
Cincinnati.
you're talking about the American teams and
I was
BYU?
talking about the American teams in BYU. Yep, that's exactly what I was talking about. You don't draw all four. You do draw BYU, Houston, UCF, who actually might be really good this year. We have yet to see. Uh, yeah, and then beyond that, getting both Arizona schools, getting Colorado, it plays out kind of favorably in that sense. However, uh, I don't think drawing Oklahoma State, having to go on the road, TCU, Iowa State, like we've said, like those are some of the harder teams in the Big 12. So while you get the sugar that is, the Houston, the BYU, the Arizona State, right? You also get kind of some of the salt there with TCU and UCF, but you know, it's got to be balanced, right? Got to be balanced in some ways. So, but Utah probably is. They should be the favorite to win the Big 12, I think. But I'm probably not taking it plus 290. In the Big 12, if you're taking the Big 12 champion at plus 290,
Sicko.
you're high on crack.
Yeah, that's wild. You got to feel really good about your quarterback and your backup quarterback and your third string quarterback. No, but the reality too is what pushes them over the edge for me is that out of conference slate, right? Not only we're talking about winning the Big 12, but also like winning 12, 10, 11, 12 games. Southern Utah, Utah State, Baylor is about as friendly as it gets in the Big 12. And you're looking at the other teams with relatively easy conference schedule. And also, like, it's almost like the Liberty effect where, like, Utah doesn't have to play Utah, right? So, which is kind of nice. I mean, it's the same thing when Georgia was having nice, easy schedules in the SEC East for all those years, is because they didn't have to play Georgia. And the reality is, like, these other teams that have maybe some also favorable schedules, they had to play Utah. And also, I do think, now you'd appreciate this, not drawing West Virginia, crazy as to say, it's kind of a nice thing. And so is Kansas and Kansas State. You're not drawing any of those three teams. And those are three dangerous teams this year in the
What,
Big
Texas
12.
Tech? Did you say Texas
Texas
Tech?
Tech. Yeah. Those four teams. I mean, you're gonna have to play some of those teams, right? But like you get Arizona, Oklahoma State, but Iowa State, UCF, you feel pretty good about. But some of the teams, like it's pretty nice to not have to play Kansas schools, Texas Tech, and Joe McGuire, and obviously going on to Morgantown in West Virginia.
Yeah, and also like dynamically the schedule, I think like works really nice. You never except like in September, right? You have to go on the road back-to-back weeks, Utah State, Oklahoma State, right? But it is what it is there. But then after that, you don't have to play back-to-back road games the entire rest of the season. And after that, you still have your two byes. So I think dynamically. Wait, am I reading that? Is that game actually at Utah State?
Yeah, I believe it is.
Little home and home action or something like that? I don't know. I don't know. But either way, you don't have to play back-to-back road games after September. Feels like a relatively decently easy schedule to me.
Yeah, and it's like what, an hour and a half, less than an hour and a half from Utah to Utah State. So it's a little bus ride, not going to hurt anybody. So yeah, like you said, the dynamics work pretty well.